Hello, and welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. I help business owners build, nurture, and monetize their online communities with my unique community-based marketing strategies. Today is exciting. We are going to be talking about 5 reasons why Facebook groups are important. So let's get started, and we're going to make this a super quick, value-packed episode. All right. And before we get started, I feel like I always have to include this little disclaimer that Facebook groups are not necessarily the end all be all when it comes to having an online community or container. So if you happen to be someone who uses Mighty Networks or Circle or Slack or Discord, all of these reasons and strategies still apply. I just tend to talk about Facebook groups a lot because that's kind of where I live. That's my comfort zone, probably the most popular when it comes to online communities. But we all know that online communities are important, right? But let's talk about why they're so important and how they compare, to like Instagram or TikTok or some of these other platforms. Well, the number one reason is, like I said, it's a container. There is privacy where members can talk amongst each other, but they know that they're only being seen by other members. So there's a little bit of a security blanket or comfort, like it's a room online that you get to create the vibe, right? When we're sharing on some of these other platforms, we put something out into the world and we can still have a private account, but that's still different than a room. But we put stuff out into the world and anybody can see it. Anybody can comment on it. Anybody can find it, which is great. But those platforms to me are like how someone finds me. So someone might find me on Instagram and say, oh, she's kind of interesting. I want to learn more. I want to make that journey for them to get to the Facebook group very easy and like level 2, right? So level 1 discovery is those kind of low hanging, trending social media platforms or Facebook pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, all of these that you're just like blasting into the world. I look at as that's where people discover me. My Facebook group is where they get to know me. And it's a little more intimate. It's a little bit more comfy. They get to know me on a different level because I go live all the time. I'm interacting with them in real time. It's very different than the other platforms. So that's reason number 1 is that I just think it is where you can take your relationship with your customers, your community members to like the next level, right? It's second base. The second reason why Facebook groups are important is market research. You get to really sit down and chat with your community and talk with them in real time and ask them very direct questions that you might get more accurate answers because of the vibe, because of the culture that you get to create. Everything mentioned in part number 1, you're going to get slightly more authentic answers when you ask them market research based questions. Depending on how you've set up the vibe, of course, but you are in control of that. And because I said, like, this is level 2, this is second base, my community knows when I'm asking them market research type questions and I want to learn about what their pain points are and how I can help them, they're getting that from a little bit more of a raw and real and authentic level than on Instagram, right? Because again, like I said, Instagram is where we draw people in, we get them interested. Facebook groups are opportunity for second base. And it is invaluable to have this market research at our fingertips. And you don't even have to actively work for it. You can set up your Facebook group questions to enter to provide you with that market research. So to get into the community builder, people have to answer 3 questions. And one of them is like, what do you hope to learn? That right there is an incredible market research question. And we keep all of those answers in a spreadsheet. And that's why I have content like this, because I'm just pulling directly from the mouths of the people that I want to help. And because they are in second base, their pain point is likely very specific to the problem that I solve. Whereas first base on Instagram, they're just discovering me. They may or may not even be interested in Facebook groups, but if they take it to level 2, I know they're interested in Facebook groups. So when they answer that question of what do you want to learn or what problem do you want to solve, it is more likely applicable to the content that I'm putting out and how I want to serve them. So those questions to enter are fabulous for market research, and the other platforms just don't have that. It's not like answer 3 questions before you can follow me on Instagram, right? It's that layer. It's that transition from phase 1 to phase 2. Okay. Number 3, I love Facebook groups because they are very easy to attract and repel. And we all know marketing is all about attract and repelling your ideal customer, your ideal community member. And on a lot of these level 1 platforms, these discovery mode platforms, there's just not as much space. There's not as much culture building to really do that attract and repelling. And you can. Marketing is marketing. You can do it anywhere. But because, again, it's like I keep going back to this part 1, first and second base, because if they are going through the efforts of getting to second base, we want to make sure that we're ready, that we're attracting and repelling. So one of my favorite tips that I give my students in their Optimize Your Facebook Group experience is to use that group description and be very bold and blunt. This group is for you if, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And this group is not for you if, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, right? And they don't have to be 3 and 3. Sometimes we do 5 and 2 or whatever. But this is going to protect that culture and that environment that I'm talking about, because there are a lot of people out there who go to Facebook groups for very specific reasons, right? Like I join a lot of entrepreneur business owner Facebook groups because I'm either looking to build relationships for networking. I'm looking to find people that need my help. Like I'm kind of in a lot of those groups for very self-serving reasons. And we get to set up our group to dictate how much of that self-serving do we want? Is this a place where people can come and promote and ask questions? Or is this a place where no promotions, you're only adding value, or you're only answering my questions, or whatever kind of culture you want to set up? You get to attract and repel those types of community members with that very bold description. So that's just one of the reasons I love Facebook groups, because, yes, people could look from the outside in and be like, how is she the Facebook group expert or community building expert? She's only got, 500 members in her group. But that's because it's level 2, right? Our Facebook groups, if we're stacking like this and stacking their experience so that there is a first base, second base, third base home run, then you want that container to actually be smaller, because your discovery platforms should always be the biggest. And then when you get somebody to second base, you're not taking everyone, right? We can't take everybody to second base. So that's why it's smaller and should be smaller, because then your buyers, your third base and home run is going to be even smaller. That's how marketing works. That's how community building works. That's how the world works, right? So you're building that customer journey, that way for people to find you and then easily progress through this journey until they're ready to actually pay you for their help. Okay. And then another reason, this will be number 4, is again, this is a community and not a stage, and you're building long lasting relationships. When another platform's algorithm is 100% in control, you can lose relationships. And gosh, this has happened to me so much, where I'll make a new friend on Instagram and I'll be so excited. Like, oh, I really love this person's content. I can't wait to see more of it. And then for whatever reason, the Instagram algorithm takes over and I'm no longer being served their information. And yes, I can take that effort to go to their profile, but let's be real. We're all getting lost in our own algorithms, our own notifications, and they're that long lasting relationship is harder to maintain because of the trends and the algorithms, and probably because I spend my time watching puppy videos at night. When I'm watching, like, consuming on social media, it is really for about 30 minutes to an hour before bed, and 90% of that time is me watching cute dog videos, okay? So that's probably why I'm not getting served the algorithm information that I truly want to be seeing during the day. But in Facebook groups, yes, there's still an algorithm, but those people are going to be able to have that long-lasting relationship with you, and you're going to have better reach, which is number 5, and we'll get to that in a second. But there are people in my Facebook group that I've been engaging with in there since I opened it a year and a half ago. And they're still engaging with my posts as often as they were in that first, 1 to 3 months or whatever it is, because they're still getting served the information. And because most people use Facebook groups on their desktops rather than their mobile, they're more likely to use bookmarks, use the pinned feature. They're more likely to intentionally visit your group. One of the questions I asked my group recently was, what are some groups that you make it a point to visit every single day? And that is what I'm here to help people do, is to create a group that people are so excited about. It is their daily routine to visit your group, regardless of the algorithm. And that's powerful stuff. That's like reading the newspaper, right? When I was a kid, I remember my dad reading the newspaper every single morning. Like, that was how we digested information back then, right? Or the grown-ups did. I was little. Now it's different. It's Facebook groups, it's social media, it's online. But the Facebook groups that give people the news, their daily news that they want to see, they will intentionally visit every day. So how can you set up your group so that you are that newspaper? You are that place that people want to be every single day. And I'm not saying I have all those answers, but I am certainly here for the experiment and to optimize your chances. All right, number 5 is reach. And this is my favorite one. This is my favorite because it just crushes the data and the numbers of any other platform. So when you use my simple marketing system, that is to pair your Facebook group with a weekly email newsletter, you will see engagement rates and open rates over 40%. That crushes Instagram's 1 to 2% of people that are seeing your stuff. But again, if you are really thinking about this as your visibility level 1 and your get to know me second base, that can work in your favor, okay? But that 40% reach is amazing and priceless and crushes every other platform. Now, it does take work, right? A lot of people hear me say that and they're like, oh, but I don't want to put in the work. And I'm like, okay, but you're already spending hours every week on all these other platforms. You could be spending minutes, in a Facebook group. But it's hard. It's hard for people to transition their brains into thinking about asking more questions and delivering less stuff. because that's what makes Facebook groups so awesome, is like you're asking thought-provoking questions and easy to answer questions rather than just giving them stuff. But again, because this is level 2, this can work in our favor. So just this morning, I went in my group and I asked the simplest question of who is focused on team building this year? We're looking to delegate more, right? That's a simple yes or no question, or me or not me. But I was doing this for market research purposes, but also knowing that I'm looking for people that are a really good fit for a very specific opportunity. And if I can find them via the answer to this question, when they raise their hand and they say me, then I'm going to say, yes, you are perfect for this opportunity. I'm going to send you a message. And now we have gone from second base to third base, right? Because now we're having a one-to-one conversation in Messenger. And there are a couple reasons why I love that strategy. Not to go too far into it, we'll look at this as a little bonus to the episode, but Facebook groups thrive when we don't put external links in there, right? So there are a couple little things we can do for Facebook groups to work in our favor. So I really try not to put links. So it's not necessarily that I'm trying to be like all secretive and wanting to get in their DMs, as much as I'm really wanting to help the most people possible. And in order to help the most people possible, I want the algorithm to work in my favor. But it just so happens the added benefit is that now I get to have these one-on-one conversations with people and let them know about certain opportunities in that one-to-one capacity. And I'm not cold selling because they have raised their hand and said, me, I'm interested in building a team. I'm interested in this topic. Boom, an invitation to tell them more. So that is why I love Facebook groups, and my simple marketing system is using that 40% to my advantage, knowing that they are at second base. They want to hear about the problem that I solve specifically. They have raised their hand to be there and to learn. And, they're not just someone who's getting served my information and in discovery mode. They are in tell me more mode. And it's great. Facebook groups are not going anywhere. I sent an email this morning about I might be a dinosaur, but Facebook groups and newsletters, they worked 10 years ago and they still work today. And there's so much less effort. And if you structure it this way so that it's level 2, you're going to have much warmer audience members than if it was your level 1. All right. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if this episode was helpful, and if you have a Facebook group, or maybe it's inspiring you to want to start one. Let me know your thoughts on this whole visibility phase 1, phase 2 thing, because I just made it up on the fly, but it sounded pretty good, right? At least the ability to articulate it sometimes really just comes to me in the moment. But thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I'm totally honored and humbled to show up for you guys here on the Messy Success Podcast. So make sure you leave us a review or share this with a friend if it was helpful. All right. See you next week.